Entonces, Kapiao, existe también existe. Nekawi Chilia, Yasquia, Negua, Otawi Chilia, and just welcome. I greet you all here today. My name is Little Eagle Map, but my government name is Brayden. My mother is from the Omeasoo-Cree Nation, located in the four-band community of Omeasoo, Alberta, about 90 kilometers south of Edmonton. My father is from Saddle Cree Nation. My roots are on Treaty 6 territory. Treaty 6 is my home. So I'd like to acknowledge that I'm here today on the property, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This is my first time here on the East Coast, and I am very grateful that this is my nature. So I have two warm welcomes. CANDO, thank you for having me here on this National Youth Panel where I'm able to sit with 5 deadly peers who are really killing it in the game in their respective areas. And I want to give a very special thank you to Tim Hortons for taking the taxes off my coffee. No, I'm kidding, but so far my experience in membership has been so inspiring. And I want to go back to my community and I want to advocate for tax-free Tim Hortons now. And yeah, thank you to Starbucks actually. So the venti coffee, inside joke was because yesterday we met and I ordered a venti Americano with 1 cream and I got a tall Americano with 1 cream. So today they got me a venti Americano with 1 cream, so thank you so much for that. How many Cree people do we have?
Woo!
By hand, show of hands? Okay, not a lot. How many people have friends that are Cree? Raise your hand. Okay, that's a lot. All right, well, everyone can raise their hand because we now have a Cree friend, a big brown Cree friend in here. So don't go home saying you don't have no Cree friends. To tell you a little bit about my education experience, I'm currently attending the University of Alberta to complete my undergrad and elementary education. I'll be convocating in the 2024 school year, so I'm very excited about that. I'm taking this education through the Alberta Aboriginal Teachers Education Program. They have a really strong faculty up there. I also have a business management certificate with a distinction in entrepreneurship from the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, and I have an Indigenous Policy certificate from the Canadian Roots Exchange Society. So I'm very well versed in my education. Within the community, I hold many titles. For my full-time job, I'm a community research assistant in Muscatchees, employed by the U of A for the Muscatchees Maternal, Child, and Family Wellbeing Research Group. This research group brings Muscatchees community members, Muscatchees Health Services, and U of A together to focus on providing maternal health outcomes in our community. I also sit on a few boards and committees in my community. I'm the vice chair of trustees for the Omeasoo Education Trust Fund, as well as I'm the youth advisory board member to the board of directors for Omeasoo Group of Companies Incorporated. I see a few of my fellow board members in the audience, so shout out to Ruby Littlechild and shout out to Ray Wanich. Sitting as a youth board member of NGCI, which is the corporate division of Omeasoo-Cree Nation, has been such a positive opportunity for me. The purpose of this position is to create a conduit of dialogue and the expression of ideas from a youth perspective. I was selected by the board for my leadership, commitment to community, my education, and my skills. I advise NGCI as an advocate for fellow youth for the benefit of all NGCI businesses, Omeasoo-Cree Nation citizens, and Muscatchees at large. I follow a work plan that is co-created by the board and myself, which outlines my goals and activities within the next year, such as hosting youth events pertaining to business, youth focus sessions on various topics, school presentations, youth engagement and participation, as well as youth and elder exchange in my community. Each of these programs have outcomes that will benefit NGCI's strategic direction, as well as provide capacity building to the youth in my community. Being a youth advisor also means being open to activities and opportunities that fall outside of my work plan. In June 2022, I was asked by one of my networks to help facilitate this is going to take a lot of breath out of me, Intermediate Indigenous Business and Economic Development Program at the Bath Center of Arts and Creativity as part of their Indigenous Leadership Program they offered. I'm going to breathe. I was asked to speak about my role as youth advisor at NGCI, and I presented a roadmap to entrepreneurship. This was the most deadly experience I had ever because I was 20, facilitating at the BAM Center of Arts, and I was like, whoa, who really does this? Yeah, so it wasn't on my bucket list, but I still crossed it off. Another event that was outside of my work plan happened in November 2022. Monash University in Australia reached out to NGCI via one of our past board members. Monash University had an inaugural group of graduating students from the newly created Masters of Indigenous Business and Leadership program. They were looking to tour Indigenous communities in Canada and tour their business and economic development initiatives. So NGCI was honored to host them, and I was tasked with creating an exchange event between Ermitzkin and this group of Indigenous Australians. So I created a space for knowledge transfer and best practices of economic development and leadership with real-life examples from NGCI, as well as this beautiful dialogue between two Indigenous communities on opposite sides of the world to come together. I was also able to plan this in conjunction with NGCI's 10-year celebration. So during the day we had the exchange, and in the evening we invited them to our 10-year celebration round dance, to give them that opportunity to experience Nehio ceremony within our community. This is one memory I hold near and dear to my heart because I value fostering connections and creating safe spaces. I definitely would have not been able to accomplish the work I've done if it hadn't been for NGCI. They value the youth voice and they value youth inclusion. And the board values me and they never forget to tell me. I feel it at every board meeting, at every decision-making table. When they are there supporting me at my events or just supporting me in general. Creating space for youth inclusion is what I admire about NGCI. Even though they're a corporate division of Ermitzkin, they were able to align the purpose of the Youth Advisory Board member to their strategic direction. And this is great leadership in my opinion. I encourage all economic development boards or corporate boards in this room to look at opening space for youth on their board, whether that be a youth advisory board member or a youth committee or what that may look like too. So I think I'm done pumping NGCI's tires now. So I'll get into my other achievements. I'm so involved in the community, that I often get recognized, and most recently I was selected as one of 20 recipients of the RBC Future Indigenous Youth Scholarship, which had more than 300 applicants. And they reached out to me personally to congratulate me because they really love my story and my commitment to my community. In terms of my education, I chose a Bachelor of Education because I come from a long line of educators, both the Western education and the spiritual education aspect of the Indigenous culture. And Nokompan, which means my grandmother, who is no longer here, taught kindergarten back in her day. And it really came full circle for me this past winter as I did my first teaching practicum in a kindergarten classroom. And this is what I wore every Friday. Do I look like a kindergarten teacher? I don't have to look far for inspiration. I'm grateful that this is the case for my story. Nokomban contributed to my character. She taught me how to be kind. She taught me patience. She taught me how to tie my shoes. She taught me how to make the best panic recipe, and I'll challenge anyone on that. And she also taught me how to carry myself in the most gracious manner possible. But when I was 15, I made the honorable decision to be her caretaker because nobody in my family was willing. I was her caretaker for 2 years, and up until the end of her life. And I'm very glad I made this decision because it was time well spent with her, and she taught me a lot. I know she's proud of me. One major obstacle I faced in my career would definitely be the ending of relationships. Sometimes there are relationships when you're young, whether they're your partner or your friends, that just become no longer good for you. And it's hard as you to recognize what's good or what's bad for you because humans get so comfortable in their routine and their daily lives that change becomes scarier than the thought of staying in a bad relationship. So I am recently single from a 4-year relationship, and this was my first love. So that was hard to go through, but I'm not as devastated as I was 2 months ago. So I'm proud of that. But it does get easier. What really helped me was to put the trust into the Creator that there's someone out there for me, and I just have to be patient, and I gotta keep doing me and practicing that stuff. And like one day, how I practiced that was I took myself out to a steak to the nice restaurant. So I love myself. I've also faced a lot of grief in my career and my studies. Just recently, I lost my oldest brother 2 months ago, and this was like really challenging to go through because grief has no timeline. And I gave myself 2 weeks to pause my studies and my work activities, and even though I felt really guilty for not being productive because I was in school and I was working, it was hard not letting that guiltiness to take time for myself not to come through. So what has got me past that guilty feeling of being unproductive was just be kind to myself and remind myself that I am a human being, I am not a human doing.
Yes.
Since my brother has passed, I have centered my focus on my family and the connections that really do matter, as well as attending ceremonies more frequently because they are my healing. And so, some advice I would give to youth out there is to take care of our elders and our knowledge keepers. The knowledge transfer is going to be integral in determining if First Nations are going to be rich in culture, language, and community. Take every chance you can to create opportunities for connection with our elders and knowledge keepers. If you have elders and knowledge keepers in your family, please don't be shy and reach out. Go deliver elders some meals or bannock. Go have some tea with them. If there's one thing I know, elders love talking, and sometimes you can just sip your tea and listen, and they'll talk for hours and hours. And value them while they're still here. Listen to them while they're still here. Take care of them while they're still here. If you don't have any elders in your family, there still may be opportunity to create connections. If you're in school, connect with the elder in residence at your Indigenous Student Center. If you're not in school, maybe have some friends who still have their grandparents. Don't be afraid to reach out to them too, even if they're not your blood relation. I have many elders in my community that I call Nokum or Minwasum, not by blood relation, but through connection. Don't forget about your community. That's another piece of advice I'll give to you. Give back in any capacity. Just last Friday, I held a two-spirit picnic in the field behind our youth center. This event was a result of very little events happening in Musqueam for Pride Month. I figured that if neither Fort Banks and Musqueam are going to celebrate our vibrant two-spirit community, I might as well be a two-spirit youth myself. The main purpose of this event was to create a safe space to celebrate the two-spirit community, and it was very well received. In fact, this has the potential to grow into an annual thing, and hopefully I could get more buy-in from community next year. All of the expenses were paid out of pocket, and I had all the supplies. It really didn't cost me more than $100. I had to buy ingredients for my real good bannock. And I made bannock dogs, and I brought beverages. And this is one personal example of how I was able to foster change in my community by starting small, not only for the two-spirit community, but for the whole community. Also encourage those who may be struggling with reconnecting to their identity and culture to not give up. The reward is so beautiful, and it's something I wish every Indigenous individual could experience. I am no means a knowledge keeper in ceremony or traditions, and I still have a long way to go before I gain that fluency in my Navy order. I'm not the best brass dancer in the world, but I still dance, and I still attend ceremony, and I still practice Navy wherever I go. I take care of myself, and I take care of my community. Creator knows this, and this relationship I have with Him has enlightened my life. Everything I do is out of Creator's love, and I let His light shine through me. I bring Creator with me everywhere I go, and I believe this is why I am such a great leader at the young age of 21. I believe more young people should honor their relationship with Creator and bring Him wherever they go. You know, Creator has such a great plan for all of us here in this room and our communities back home. Don't forget about Him. Bring Him with you in those decision-making spaces. And on that note, I'll end my speech here. Get in the scope, Noel.